bring in our Representative Brenda Lawrence. Of course, she represents the 14th Congressional District. Always great having you with us. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, but is it weird that I actually took one of my stickers that said I voted when I didn't, but we didn't have anything to vote on in my community?
Well, it's always a risk because when there's not a lot going on, the next cycle when there is, people are kind of like, "Oh, am I supposed to vote?" They're not. We need, I don't know, need to keep something to keep people in that program of voting.
So with that, can I ask you, as someone who's been an elected leader for a long time, how do you get people excited about the primary? Because I feel like so much focus is on the general election.
Yes. So a few people understand, especially when there's multiple candidates, that you have to be in the top two to be able to be on the ballot for the primary. And if you're running in a crowded race, you have to like knock on doors, get people excited about you being there. Say, if you don't vote for me, you won't be able to elect me in November. And so you have to do a lot of educating. You have to be in the public and really engage them. You have to use the tools of social media, of mailings, and have signs out in the community to make people aware when they drive by, say, "Oh, there's an election coming up."
So we know here locally, the city of Pontiac, it appears that they are going to have a new mayor because we know there was an issue with the current mayor with Waterman and she did not make the primary. And
Yes.
with that too, I know she was even trying to get people to make sure that they spelled her name correctly. But I remember that with Duggan.
Yeah.
Back in the city of Detroit, him trying to get on the ballot as well. What's the behind the scenes action that's going on leading up to these elections?
Well, behind the scenes, you're trying to, when there's like multiple candidates, like there were in Pontiac, you're trying to rise above all of those candidates. So you are trying to highlight why a person should vote for you, and unfortunately, sometimes why you shouldn't vote for another candidate, which they call negative campaigning. Um, Unfortunately, sometimes the contrast, you need to present it so that people can say, "Oh yeah, these are the skills I want. This is not the candidate I want." But behind the scenes is, it's that magic number. How many votes do I need to win? And you go after those votes. Like if I need 5,000 people to vote for me, I'm going to mail, I'm going to target, I'm going to find the people. You're making phone calls. Will you vote for me? If that person says yes, then you're going to mail to them, lock them down, and make sure that they show up for you on election day.
And that's what's so hard, especially in the primaries,
Yes.
because people don't typically show up. But I will say, like yesterday, the weather was beautiful. There was no reason to show up in the primary, but people just don't.
Well, let me tell you a funny story. I was in the grocery store one time and this lady said, "I'm going to vote for you." I said, "The election was yesterday." "Oh, I didn't know. Thank God I won." But can you imagine? And she was all enthusiastic. "I'm going to vote for you." I said, "The election was yesterday." "Oh, I didn't know."
And what's so sad about that is that we have had, situations where, elections and positions have been decided by just those few
Yes,
votes.
just a few votes. Yes.
Your vote does matter. But
Absolutely.
the good thing with that, though, we know that you are in position and you have been such an advocate for the people of Michigan. But if I can talk to you a little bit, because I do follow you on Twitter, I love your social media. Thank you. But as a female and as a woman,
Mhm,
let's talk about the Paycheck Fairness Act.
mhm.
Why are we still having this conversation in 2021?
And that is the frustrating part of being in a position of elected by the people to get things done. And there are still members of Congress who don't see the big deal. They don't understand. They say a woman can get any job she wants. Why do we need to pass a law to ensure paycheck fairness, where data, research, analysis have documented that women traditionally get paid a different and lower salary than men. Some like to say, well, that's because the men have been there longer and have seniority. That's absolutely not true. Because we know the equalizer are our unions and labor groups, because they mandate that if you have a certain job classification, you get paid the same. And the only difference is seniority. So you're in track, and you will eventually, when you reach a certain amount of seniority, make the same amount of money. But the criminal part of why this bill is so important, do you realize that a woman who, say for instance, is a engineer in a firm, and she gets paid less, when she retires, till her death, her payments is less than a man. So a man, all of our retirement is based on your income while you work. So when you're working, if you're making less, what a slap in the face. I'm retired and I'm trying to live on a fixed income, but my quality of life is not equal to a man because he made more when he worked and than I did. So I'm still at a lower salary.
And, as a federal employee, the one thing about the system there is it's based on your rank, like
Yeah.
GS 12, GS 10, and you get that. And then, so they can't monkey with your pay. But I will say, coming from media, the big thing in corporate America, you have to keep your pay a secret.
Yes, and it's required. And we have actually addressed legislation, because when you come in, and we know this in your field, we even had some examples where a reporter or a broadcast analyst will come in and they'll say, well, they'll learn by just happenstance. Oh my God, he's making that much money. I'm doing the same job he is. But you're not supposed to know that. And so how do you appeal that? And so we have, it's all over the place, and it's really needs to change.
Representative Brenda Lawrence with us here on the Mega Cast. Of course, she represents the 14th Congressional District. And if I can ask you, you had posted something regarding it was the minibus.
Yes.
What exactly was that? And I did go on and I saw your 8 communities, but I
Yes.
didn't understand the terminology of the minibus. Can you explain
So,
that to us?
so in the budgetary process, there are some times where we'll put multiple bills, appropriation bills, under one, and we label it the minibus. So think about a bus has multiple passengers. So you have multiple bills. And what we did, we enacted community project funding. And so every district, and I represent the 14th, and if I could just go, that's all the Grosse Points, Harper Woods, Heart of Detroit, Hamtramck, Rollo Township, Oak Park, Southfield, Farmington Hills, West Bloomfield, Kego Harbor, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, Pontiac, and Lathrop
Talk
Village.
about a diverse group to try to
Yes,
represent.
think about the diversity in that. And so for my district, I asked every city to give me a project, and then I submitted. And what was so good about this is new, is that I can bring money directly into the communities. And if I could just name some, there's a veterans, Hamtramck, you saw it on the news, most of you yesterday. There's only 5 of the Negro League stadiums left in the country. And we are so blessed. We have one of those in Hamtramck. I was able to get funding for the renovation of that.
And thank you for doing that, because we've had them on the show and it's
Yes,
amazing.
amazing. I mean, it was very moving to be there, to know that we are going to be part of this restoring and preserving history. The Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital, we were able to purchase a cataract catheterization technology. We were able to give money to the Holocaust Museum for educational programs. The Molina Oakland Health Hospital, we were able to purchase another medical machine. The Pontiac water system, we were able to get $800,000 for water improvement, and Rollo Township for their water improvement system, 8,000. And then there's something called the accelerator in Southfield with those partners with LTU. We were able to program that. And lastly, we were able to promote a small business accelerator in Detroit called Detroit Mean Business. So these are projects throughout the district that's going to make a difference for our business community, for water, for health, for history. So I'm really proud of our minibus.
I love that. And Congresswoman, I have to say, I know that our time is tight with you, but if I can ask you, we lost a political giant recently here in the state of Michigan and the passing of the former Senator Levin. Any memories you want to share with him?
Yes, I just want to say a prime example of a statesman, a person who believed in bipartisan work, who understood compromise, who was not afraid to debate an issue with dignity and respect. I feel that's lost a lot now in our politics. And just knowing that his love of family with his brother was just remarkable, even in politics. So we did lose an excellent role model for political leaders.
Like I've been able to interview him multiple times, but when you think about it, it's not just him, but he has such a legacy in his family as well,
Yeah,
and in fostering public service to generations to come.
absolutely, absolutely. And his name will be brought up on the number of legislation and accomplishments that we made in Congress. And we really did lose one of our political giants.
Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence here with us here on the MegaCast. Of course, she represents the 14th Congressional District. We so appreciate your time. Anything maybe I didn't ask that you want to add before we say goodbye? I know that I'm already above your my cutoff time, so I apologize.
Well, I just wanted to say Godspeed to you and all your future endeavors. I thank you so much for your professionalism, for you providing information on this megacast, and look forward to seeing your sales and different waters and as we move on.